received, so thank you for that. Good morning, everyone. This is Commissioner Scar. Today is Tuesday, June 14th, 2022, and we'll call this meeting to order at 8 a.m. Before we get started, I'd like to remind everyone to mute their phone. You can do this by pressing *6. Please unmute yourself when called to speak, again pressing *6. It is very important for all others to remain muted. Thank you. Well, welcome to the Board of Commissioners call this morning. Commissioner Yamamoto is out of the office attending the AOC Economic Summit, where I will be headed just after this call, but we'll do our roll call. Commissioner Bell, are you with us this morning?
Good morning, I'm here.
Excellent, thank you so much. Good morning. Okay, with that, we will jump right in with Adventist Health Tillamook. Eric, are you with us this morning?
Sorry, Commissioner, Eric is not with us this morning.
Okay, thank you. So we will jump right then to the Coastal Caucus. I know that Representative Weber's with us. I'm not sure who else, so I will let you guys just jump right in and get started with whoever is here this morning.
Good morning, Suzanne here.
Good morning.
I just wanted a few highlights, like Happy Flag Day. I haven't seen the flags out, but it sure popped up on my phone this morning that that's what day it was. I'd like to talk just for a moment about something that's coming up in South County. And that is, there is another subsea cable landing that's going to be occurring, and it's going to be in the Camp Wainema. The group has reached an agreement with Camp Wainea to locate the landing there, and this is not going to be like the last landing that was so poorly handled, with the basalt being located. This cable is coming from Singapore, and it is coming across the ocean. This group has done their due diligence. And what they are doing right now is they are planning a series of 2 meetings. Monday, the 27th, at the Kawanda Community Center. One of them is going to be from 12 to 2, and the other one is going to be from 4 to 6. So if you have an opportunity and would like to ask questions of these folks, I think it would be a great idea to take part in those public meetings. Like I say, this is the cable landing, a subsea cable, coming down to the south end of the county, and it's going to enable a new fiber path that's going to increase the connectivity options for Oregonians, and ultimately it will also, at this time, it is planned to go over Highway 6 to the valley, which will increase the opportunities for people that live along that corridor for added internet. And I believe that our own providers are looking at this as a real opportunity. So that's the 27th at the Kawanda Community Center. One of the meetings starts at 12 and goes to 2, and the other one goes from 4 to 6. And at some point in time during the day, they're also going to have an informational meeting for the electeds to be able to come and, see and ask in-depth questions. But that time was not made. I'm not aware of what time that's going to be, but I think it's going to be before these 2 occur. And I'm sure that Rep. Gomber can also add to this discussion, because I know that they went and had a meeting with him also. The other thing I wanted to bring up was this is a time for parties. There's graduation parties, there's family reunions, there's family picnics, there's parades. This weekend, I had an opportunity to go to some family graduation parties in the valley, and I went over Highway 6. And I have to say I'm very concerned with the way people are driving on Highway 6, and we all know that this happens, and we all know that people are impatient. But please, folks, when you get in a line of 6 or 7 cars that's being led by a trailer house, please be patient. Don't think that you have to pass at every single opportunity and put a whole bunch of people at risk. You're probably all going to get there at the same time anyway. So with that, I will sign off. Thank you.
Well, so thanks so very much, Representative Weber. Dave Gomberg here from House District 10, and I too wanted to talk a little bit about this new proposed cable landing. And everybody on the call today and everybody listening is well aware that the last time we tried to bring a cable ashore in southern Tillamook County, just about everything that could go wrong did go wrong. We have another group that's planning to bring a cable landing ashore. This time it's not Facebook, it is Amazon. And yes, they have scheduled a series of public meetings to answer questions and to provide a little bit better overview of what they have in mind. You heard the dates of those meetings and the location of those meetings on the 27th at the Quanda Community Center. The main thing I wanted to add to the conversation is that one major difference we have between last time and this time is that the Coastal Caucus proposed and passed legislation trying to address some of the problems that we saw last time, and that any new cable landings are going to be operating within the constraints of that legislation that would require planning and bonding and financial securities to make sure that if something goes wrong, we have the wherewithal to address that going down the road. So I believe the circumstances are different. Certainly the state perspective on cable landings is different at this point. But for any of these cables to come ashore, they're going to have to pass through the Oregon Territorial Sea and therefore get permits from state lands. They're going to have to pass under our beaches and therefore get permits from state parks. And then, of course, they'll come to dry land and they'll need permitting and review by Tillamook County. So there's a long way to go along this pathway. Representative Weber did mention that they're planning to take that cable out along Highway 6. That'll require some construction, some lane closures, and some delays on that already besieged stretch of Oregon Highway. That's the bad news for everybody out there. The good news is if you live along Highway 6 or any of the arterials that connect to Highway 6, there's going to be an increased opportunity for improved broadband service through one of our local providers that's going to contract with Amazon. So we'll see how that all goes. Public meetings on the 27th. Come on out, learn more, and bring your questions. Later today, I'm going to be participating, as I did yesterday, in the Cascadia Rising exercises that are going on up and down the coast to better prepare for natural disasters, and in particular for earthquakes and tsunamis. A lot of stuff going on. I visited in Lincoln County yesterday, was impressed with so much of the technology, the resources, the materials that they are gathering, but continue to have concerns that if we have, I should say when we have that major earthquake, that the bridges up and down the coast are going to be lost, leaving our various communities isolated from each other. And having a cache of supplies, emergency materials, and medical support in one community is not going to quickly translate into getting that support to neighboring communities. So we're doing good things, but we've got a long way to go, and I hope we get there before the earthquake arrives. Don't want to leave things on a sour note. In my newsletter yesterday, I was celebrating all of the wonderful farmers markets that take place up and down the Central Coast. Pacific City, Neskowin, Lincoln City, Newport, Waldport. Everybody's got a farmer's market. I'll just remind you that while they're a wonderful place to stop, socialize, and shop, that each of those pop-up tents represent a coastal small business. Somebody providing food, making cheese, making soap, handcrafts, all kinds of stuff. Small businesses thriving on the coast, and please get out there, enjoy the market, and support local small businesses by shopping locally. So I'll keep my report brief today. There's a lot going on, and I'll pause and see if either of our senators is with us this morning or whether the commissioners have any questions.
Thank you, Representative. Do we have Senator Armitage or Senator Anderson with us? Do we have questions for Representative Weber or Representative Gomberg this morning? Okay, hearing no questions, I will just chime in on the farmers markets that Rep. Gomberg mentioned. I was at the opening of the Tillamook Farmers Market this last weekend, and it was so nice to be out there and see everyone again and have a chance to browse local produce and local artisans. There were beautiful flowers. So I also encourage you, get out there and enjoy your farmers markets. In spite of the weather, it is the season. So looking forward to that for the full summer. Okay, we will keep right on trucking here. We have the Tillamook County Community Health Centers. Do we have Ed Colson or Marlene Putman with us today?
Well, good morning there. Ed Colson's here for the Health Department's report.
Good morning, Ed.
Good morning, Tillamook County. Good morning, Commissioners. For June is Men's Health Month, so a national observance used to raise awareness about healthcare for boys and men of all ages. Every year on the Friday before Father's Day, June 17th, we join together to raise awareness and support for men's health by wearing blue. This is a great opportunity to check in with your brother, friend, dad or stepdad, neighbor, partner, or colleague. Health screenings such as diabetes, heart disease, and depression are all important and can help reduce your risk of disease or illness when done annually. So please give your healthcare provider a call to schedule a visit. And to learn more about Men's Health and Wear Blue Day, please visit menshealthnetwork.org. Now, to continue the theme about emergency preparedness, the Medical Reserve Corps has an event on Thursday, June 16th from 11 to 2 p.m., along with the Oregon Department of Human Services, the Oregon Health Authority, and the Emergency Volunteer Corps of Nehalem Bay. They invite you to join them at Manzanita's Underhill Plaza for Able Readiness 2. Please join as we will be simulating the mass care setup needed after a major emergency, focusing on medical response and EVCNB's Medical Reserve Corps. As you know, on the Oregon coast, we have numerous islands that will be totally isolated after a major disaster. At the local level, we have struggled for years with limited success to identify and fund the resources needed to prepare for the isolation. Now, the Oregon Department of Human Services has come up with a potential solution called Able Readiness. They have developed a cache of supplies that will support 80 people for 14 days with shelter, food, water, sanitation, and communication. This is a major breakthrough for the Oregon coastal communities, and they look forward to seeing everyone up there Thursday, June 16th from 11 to 2 p.m. at Manzanita's Underhill Plaza. So now for our weekly COVID-19 update, our weekend case count from June 10th to the 12th was 14. Our 7-day case count from June 5th through the 11th was 47. Our 14-day case count from May 29th to June 11th was 94. Total cases for the month of June from the 1st to the 12th were 70, and we've had 4,044 cases of COVID-19 since the start of the pandemic in March 2020. We've had 65 COVID-19 related deaths and 152 total COVID-related hospitalizations, and we have a 27.6% test positivity over the last 7 days from the June 5th through the 12th. Currently, we have zero active outbreaks, but we are monitoring 14 for potential outbreaks. As of June 2nd, of those aged 18 years and older living in Tillamook County, 81.1% have initiated their COVID-19 vaccination and have received at least one dose. 75.1% have completed the primary series, and 45.7% have received an extra dose of the COVID-19 vaccine in addition to completing their primary series. According to the OHSU COVID forecast, cases are starting to crest in most regions across the state, and many people continue to wear masks not just for their protection, but for the protection of others. So with Tillamook County currently at high community transmission, the Tillamook County Public Health Officer, Dr. Melissa Paulison, still strongly encourages people to wear masks in indoor public settings. But masks are still required when in healthcare settings for patients, visitors, and staff. OHA continues to staff their COVID-19 case support line, which is available by calling 866-917-8881. The phone line is staffed by OHA staff Monday through Friday, 8 a.m. to 5 p.m., and it is closed for holidays. You can use that phone line to report a positive test result, receive information on isolation guidelines and support with isolation, and then you can also report your positive test result at oregon.gov/positive COVID test. Now, our health center continues to provide in-clinic COVID-19 testing, vaccinations, treatment, and counseling by appointment. You can give us a call at 503-842-3900 to schedule. Now, boosters are available. Many may be starting to make summer plans as the school year wraps up and the weather warms, hopefully. Along with your plans, choose to have the added protection of COVID-19 vaccine boosters. You are protected best from COVID-19 when you stay up to date on the recommended vaccines. Everyone ages 5 years and older should get one booster after completing their COVID-19 vaccine primary series, and those aged 50 and older and those immunocompromised should get 2 booster doses. COVID-19 vaccines are available from our health center by appointment at Safeway Pharmacy, Fred Meyer Pharmacy, Tillamook Pharmacy, Adventist Health, and at Nehalem Bay Health Center. Test kits are still available from the county libraries as well as at our clinic locations. Home test kits can also be ordered at covidtest.gov and then be delivered to your home via the Postal Service. And then you can also get tested at our healthcare facilities throughout the county and local pharmacies. If you have a COVID-19 related questions or need additional support, please contact our public health nurse line at 503-842-3940, and we will return calls within 24 business hours. That's our COVID-19 update and community health center update. I'll turn it back over to you, commissioners.
Thank you. Appreciate that, Ed. Does anyone have any questions for Ed?
This is Commissioner Bell. I have a couple questions for Ed.
Please.
Thank you. Well, Ed, last night I received 2 calls about cases, positive COVID cases among our workforce, and I just heard you say that our test positivity rate is 27.6%, which is quite high. I was glad to hear you say that Dr. Paulson is recommending mask wearing indoors, which is voluntary, of course, but it might be in people's best interest. So what I wanted to ask you is what the trend line looks like. Is our transmission, are the cases continuing to go up in Tillamook County currently? And also, it seems anecdotally like a lot of people are getting COVID locally right now, but the disease severity is less. I'm not hearing about increases in hospitalization, not that it's not dangerous, of course, but it seems like people are getting less desperately ill. So I wondered if you could speak to those things, the trending and the danger, the disease severity.
Yeah, thank you, Commissioner. In regards to the trending, just chatting with some of our public health staff right now, it looks like we are starting to crest, and hopefully we'll start to see a decrease, but with celebrations and the summer coming up and more people gathering, that could change. OHSU's forecast kind of showed that throughout the region that the cases were starting to crest, but once again, with summer coming, things can change there. And as far as hospitalizations, I can't comment to that because I don't have access to the hospitalization database. But from what it looks like on our case count here, we are still recommending masking to help contain that. As far as the disease severity and hospitalizations, I don't have necessarily access to the dashboard for that to make a complete answer for you.
Thank you, Ed.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, any other questions for Ed? I would just encourage people to mask up when you're indoors. If that makes sense for you, if that is particular, if you or someone you know is at risk. I have a friend coming this weekend and her partner is in cancer treatment. So she asked that we all test before she comes and then we will observe safety precautions. So I think having the tests on hand for all of us is super helpful and having masks on hand. So this is not over. We're all going through this together still, and we need to make choices that match up with the risks in our lives. So thank you, Ed. Appreciate the ongoing information.
You're welcome.
Okay, moving on to the Nehalem Bay Health Center and Pharmacy. Gail, are you with us today?
Yes, good morning, everyone.
Good morning.
And thank you. And yes, at the Nehalem Bay Health Center and Pharmacy, we are, of course, still administering vaccines, tests, and we also have free COVID tests and N95 masks available. So if you need any, if anyone needs masks or tests, please don't hesitate to give us a call. And also, if you have transportation barriers for those items, our transportation service is up and running, and if you need assistance obtaining items or have transportation barriers to your medical appointments, please don't hesitate to give us a call at 800-368-5182. And last, on June 30th, that's a Thursday, in a couple of weeks, our health center and pharmacy will open at 1:30 due to an all-staff training that we will be participating in. So that's my update for this morning.
Thank you, Gail. Appreciate that. Any questions for Gail? Hearing none, we'll keep going. How about Tillamook Family Counseling Center? Frank, are you with us this morning?
I am here, Commissioner. Frank Hanna Williams, Director, Tillamook Family Counseling Center, Behavioral Health Services for Tillamook County residents. And if you have questions or concerns and would like to speak with one of the staff about services or making an appointment, you can do that by reaching us at 503-842-8201 or 1-800-962-2851. If you have other questions about our QPR series, our suicide prevention series, or our parenting services as well, you can reach us at those numbers, and staff will be able to assist you in getting information. That is my brief report this morning, and if there's any questions, I'll answer them.
Super. Thank you, Frank. Any questions for Frank? I'll just comment again. I went to as I said, the farmers market this weekend and was delighted to see Janine Krongos, who is one of the local Question, Persuade, Refer, or QPR trainers. She was my trainer when I took the course, and she was there at the farmers market handing out information both about QPR and self-care and other services. So if you're at the farmers market, it's a great opportunity to stop in as well and learn a little bit more about services at Tillamook Family Counseling. Thank you so much, Frank. Appreciate that.
Thank you, Commissioner Starr. I appreciate that.
All right, we'll move on to the sheriff. Do we have Sheriff Brown with us this morning?
I am here, Commissioner. Good morning.
Good morning.
Just wanted to share a few stats with everybody this morning. The weekend was a little bit busy. Every weekend tends to be a little bit different. Our overall call volume was at 77 calls for the weekend. If you remember, in one of the last community updates, I had talked about the Memorial Weekend stats, and as a reminder, the total calls for that 3-day weekend was 181. So in this 2-day weekend, we had 77. So the total calls were down, but we had a couple of disturbance calls, which is just barely short of what we had over Memorial Weekend. Traffic stops were down and our arrests were down. Interesting stat is the motor vehicle accident and recreational accident calls that we had. We had just as many motor vehicle accidents and rec accidents as we had over the entirety of the Memorial Day weekend. 2 of those motor vehicle accident or recreational accident calls did require Lifeline. I believe Lifeline came in for another type of a call, not necessarily related to a crash. So Lifeline was busy coming to the coast. But as I said, 2 of the accident calls were serious enough to where Lifeline had to come down. So like I said, the numbers weren't quite as busy as Memorial Weekend, but they were busy in other areas. Of course, we posted about the stolen vehicle case that was kind of became a big deal where a vehicle was stolen out of Bay City. That vehicle, in turn, was found abandoned alongside a forest road or in an area in North County. And then another vehicle came up stolen, and we have posted about it, asking for help from citizens, so we continue to work that case. But other than that, this weekend, like I said, despite the weather being a little bit wet, still had enough busyness going on to where we were bouncing around quite a bit. So it's a good time to remind everybody that, be patient and be safe. Obviously, I think more local residents are listening to this community update than, say, out-of-town visitors. And I realize that a lot of the action or calls are centered around visitors, not all of them, of course. But we can definitely do our part, being patient, making sure that we're keeping a good eye on our surroundings and driving safe. And just remember to be kind. Other than that, that's all I got, and I can take any questions if anybody has them.
Thank you, Sheriff. Does anybody have questions for the Sheriff? Okay, hearing none, we will move on to emergency management. Randy Thorpe, are you with us?
Yep, I sure am. Well, I just wanted to reiterate what Ed went over about the Able Readiness 2 activities that are going on the next few days up at Nehalem Bay. It's going to be a great opportunity for the communities up there to test their readiness, and also they'll be going over their mass care and how well they respond to that, because they're going to have their Medical Reserve Corps involved and all their CERT members. So it should be a really great exercise to help really look and see how well they're set up to go on this. So, and again, they're having the great big kind of an open house go over on the 16th, like Ed mentioned on that. So hopefully everybody can at least get up that day and they can take a look at what's been going on. And I too am pretty excited about the Oregon Department of Human Services and their activities with trying to help us here on the coast with setting up these types of activities and also the equipment that they're going to eventually be able to get out here with their tents and other things that are going on. So anyway, this is going to be a great activity. Hopefully the weather will cooperate so we can have a good exercise. So that's all I've got for right now, and if Gordon's on, I'll turn it over to him.
Yeah, I'm here. Good morning. And I'll remind Randy and others that I'm in sales, not production. If you got a problem with the product, you're going to have to take that up with the manufacturer. Well, I guess we all know that it was a wet weekend here in Tillamook County, anywhere from a little over an inch of rain to some areas had about 2.5 inches of rain. But the areas of concern were actually over in the Cascades, where some areas saw as much as 6 inches of rain, which is more than those areas get in the entire month of June. Also, many of you probably already heard about the Cascade rain combining with the melting mountain snow, which is driven up the Columbia River, which actually reached minor flood stage yesterday near Vancouver. And the forecast has it staying there until tomorrow afternoon, when it slowly starts to drop the rest of the week. This means any travelers that are going north into Washington on I-5 will possibly see some delays of up to 20 minutes as they have to raise the interstate bridge to let ships through. ODOT reports that they do lift the bridge raising, or stop the raising, between 6:30 and 9 in the morning and between 2:30 and 6 in the evening. Just as a side note, I looked at the snow equivalent for the state, which was published on May the 19th, and the Hood, Sandy, Lower Deschutes area was at 241% of normal. The latest section in the state, or the lowest, I should say, the lowest section in the state was Lake County down in the south Goose Lake area, which was at 101%. So the state snow equivalent's doing pretty good. A new report probably will come out next week. And with all that rain, I suspect the numbers will be a little bit lower up in that northern region. Now, as far as the forecast goes, the good news, the shower chance will diminish later this morning as we pressure trying to drift towards the area. So things will start to dry out later today through tomorrow. Then the ridge slides across, giving us warmer weather with the high tomorrow up near 66. But as has been the case lately, there's an approaching weak front that'll bring a slight chance of showers tomorrow night into Thursday morning. Then Friday on, a trough, slow moving inches towards the area. That means that we'll see some partly sunny to mostly cloudy skies with a slight chance of afternoon showers through the weekend, with highs staying around 60 to 65 and lows in the upper 40s to low 50s. There are some indications that next week we'll start to see high pressure building in again, which means better weather. I did look at the seasonal climate forecast issued mid-May by Pete Parsons for July, and he suggests temperatures will be near or just below average, with significant swings between cool and warm being possible. This is Oregon after all, and precipitation would be near or above average for what is usually the driest month of the year. So we'll just keep our fingers crossed to see how that pans out. And that's my report. Happy Flag Day to everybody, and now I'll go back on mute.
Thank you, Gordon. Appreciate that. Okay, we'll move into the Board of Commissioners. Commissioner Bell, would you like to share?
Good morning. Thank you. Well, I was glad to hear my colleagues, Randy and Ed, talk about the Able Readiness 2 exercise that's happening in North County this week. And I'll just mention that, too, because I'm going to participate in those trainings and have been looking forward to it for months. It's been scheduled for a long time. And I'll just explain a little bit more about the two different drills. There are drills on Wednesday and Thursday. And the Wednesday drill is preparedness for the Emergency Volunteer Corps of Nehalem Bay. So on Wednesday, it's a training drill for the group, and they're going to the Oregon Department of Human Services is going to be there participating with them. Oregon Department of Human Services has an Office of Resilience and Emergency Management, so that's why Ed was talking about it, and so they're going to be there training with our folks, with our volunteers, teaching them techniques and things to do in a mass incident. And then on Thursday, they're going to practice the skills they learned on Wednesday. So Thursday is the public drill, and that's what Ed was talking about. On Thursday from 11 to 2, the public is welcome to come and be a part of that drill. And so that's in Manzanita at Underhill Plaza, which is where they have the Manzanita Farmers Market. If you're traveling north, it's the second exit into Manzanita, just beyond the grocery store on the right. And so the public is welcome to come and participate on Thursday from 11 to 2 in the public drill, where we will be practicing the things that we've learned in the training drill on Wednesday. So it's a really big deal for emergency preparedness folks, and I'm excited to participate in it myself. I also wanted to talk briefly about a couple of tragic losses in our community. In the past week, last night, I heard that Doug Pallant died. He's the general manager of the Tillamook Transportation District, and just a beloved community member. He's a wonderful person and someone who's just easy to work with. He was an excellent director of the Transportation District, always so helpful, a great problem solver, had terrific innovative ideas. He was a person you could always count on to come to the table and say yes and figure out solutions to whatever it was. And so it was his leadership was wonderful as a community member. He was very, very positive and optimistic and helpful and kind, and so it's I offer our sincere sympathy to Doug's family and to the people who worked with him and to everyone who knew him and loved him. It's shocking and very sad for our community. Likewise, I offer our sympathy to Charlie Stewart's family. Charlie Stewart was the police chief of Rockaway Beach for a long time, and then more recently he went to Adventist Health. He was a community leader and a wonderful person, a pleasure to work with, and so those are both just really staggering losses in our community, and we offer our very sincere condolences to all the survivors, everyone who will grieve them, and I know it'll be a lot of people. It is a lot of people. So we're a small community, you know, and there are people who touch a lot of other people and make a big difference. You know, we're a small enough community that you can make a big difference in people's lives, and both of them did. And I'm grateful for their service to our community. And I want to end on a positive note and say that I'll participate in the TBCC graduation this Friday, which I'm really looking forward to. And I'm a TBCC board member, and their graduations are always thrilling. Lots of family members come, and it's just, you know, it's a wonderful way to celebrate people's achievements, and it's graduation season. So I extend our congratulations to TBCC graduates and also to all of the high school graduates in our community. The 3 high schools have, I think they all had their graduations last week, and you know, it's a lot to celebrate, especially coming out of the season of COVID. It was especially hard for people to graduate for having missed so many classes and so much in-class time because of COVID. I was talking to a high school graduate last week, and I congratulated him, and I talked to him about it for a minute, and he said, yeah, it was really, really hard. It was hard to do all those classes online, and he was worried that they couldn't catch up, and it was, you know, it's difficult. There are some classes that it's probably easy enough to take remotely, but anything that you might struggle with, that you need to ask questions about, that, you know, that sort of thing was really hard to do remotely. So bravo to everyone who is graduating, to everyone who stuck through it with COVID and did their work and is coming out victorious with the diploma. Bravo. And that's all for me today.
Thank you, Commissioner. Any questions for Commissioner Bell? Okay, hearing none, I will give my report. I would like to thank Commissioner Bell for her words about both Doug and Charlie. There are huge losses to our community. I had the pleasure and the honor of working with both of them in a number of settings, and they will be significantly missed. And my condolences as well to their family and friends and all who will grieve them. So, okay, moving on to things happening in the community. I wanted to speak briefly about the Alderbrook Golf Course. There have been quite a number of letters in the paper, as well as conversations in the community, folks reaching out to us as county commissioners, suggesting that perhaps there is a way forward in the community to keep this asset. And I don't know what that looks like. I am in no way suggesting that the county will step up and purchase this. However, what we are suggesting is that we will be bringing together a community convening around the golf course, just to have all of the different disparate people who have been reaching out to us to have a conversation together, so that we can all look at the golf course, look at what is possible on that land, and look at who is significantly interested in mounting an effort to potentially purchase and save that. So if you are someone that is interested in that, we hope to have that meeting convened in early July, so keep your eyes open for that. Again, just to be clear, the county is not suggesting that we're going to purchase and operate this. That's not what this meeting is about. It is about possible community solutions and a place for everyone of interest to come together. We'll be serving as a convening body. So just an FYI on that one. Couple other things going on. I've talked previously about our Tillamook, which is the Opioid Use Response Group, and the Measure 110 funding. Measure 110 was a ballot measure that was passed 2 years ago, and it was a reallocation of the marijuana tax to put it into treatment for those who are struggling with opioid use disorder. That has been a slow process in getting that money forward. Tillamook will be receiving about $2.2 million. The opioid use response team here has been working diligently to pare down the original proposal that they made to the state for over $5 million and determine what services will be in that $2.2 million. We are hoping those funds will arrive by October. So just kind of a heads up if you not moving forward, albeit rather slowly, but we are pleased and excited to have that $2.2 million coming our direction and to be able to expand harm reduction services, treatment services, shelter services, peer support services. Those are all pieces that were actively funded and that we will be receiving funding for soon. The last thing I'll talk about just briefly is I am headed off to Hermiston for the remainder of this week for two things. One is the Association of Oregon Counties Legislative Retreat. The Association of Oregon Counties is a very important organization for us as a county. They have advocates for us at the state level that really get to know the legislators well, spend a lot of time bringing forward the issues that the county needs to have legislators be aware of as legislation is moving through and as legislation is being created. So the retreat that I will be in tomorrow is to come together as the 36 counties all across Oregon and to set some legislative priorities to determine what are the pieces that are of issue for all of us, that we have a combined and shared voice that we can take to the legislature to ensure that counties are receiving the funding we need, that we are not being overly regulated by the state without very careful thought about what that will do to counties. We are most commonly the organizations that administer the programs that the state dreams up. So there is a strong partnership between the state and the counties, but it's super important that we have a strong voice at the table. And that's what the Association of Oregon Counties does for us. So I am serving as a board member of Association of Oregon Counties and will be in that meeting pushing forward our voice. Following that is an economic summit in Eastern Oregon, and they will be highlighting what they have done in Eastern Oregon related to housing, related to water, and related to forestry. So Commissioner Yamamoto and I will both be there, and we will both be looking to see if there are best practices from the other side of the state that we can bring back to our side of the state, or if we have any to share. So it should be a good learning opportunity, and I look forward to, again, looking for really important lessons that we can apply. With that, I will end my report and I will move us on to the cities. So Manzanita, Mayor Mike Scott, are you with us today?
Yes, I am, and everybody kind of stolen my thunder here this morning. We're having this big exercise up here this week, Able Readiness 2, and just to add a couple things that haven't already been mentioned. It's a 3-day event. Starting today, we're going to be putting up portable communication equipment and a portable tower for antennas, and then tomorrow they'll be putting up mass casualty tents and triage area for the Medical Reserve Corps and so forth, and doing exercises. And it has been mentioned, the public demonstration day is Thursday from 11 to 2. And one thing I want to add that no one else has mentioned, parking is going to be extremely limited at this event. So if it's possible, try to walk and park a distance away. So thank you.
Thank you, Mayor. Appreciate that. And, I didn't say anything about the emergency preparedness, but we are all feel very lucky that we have EVCNB doing this preparation work, helping all of our emergency preparedness organizations be able to learn from that. And I, for one, hope like heck I'm in North County if and when the big one happens. Moving on, Nehalem, do we have Melissa Thompson-Kiefer with us today?
Yes, good morning.
Good morning.
I just wanted to share that the cities of Manzanita, Nehalem, and Wheeler are finalizing a draft joint transportation system plan and are seeking public review and feedback. The transportation plan, or TSP, will describe transportation goals, policies, project investments, and strategies for the next 20 years. So we encourage residents to come learn more about the final list of projects to be included in the plan and give feedback tomorrow at an in-person open house from 4 to 6 p.m. Up here at NCRD in Nehalem. There will be no formal presentation, and visitors can stop by at any time. If you're unable to attend tomorrow in person, there is also a link to an online survey that will be posted now through July 5th on the project website at NehalemBayTSP.org. So we hope everyone will come and provide some feedback. Thank you.
Excellent. Thank you, Melissa. Appreciate that. Okay, moving on to Wheeler. Do we have Mayor Doug Honeycutt with us? Not hearing anyone. How about Rockaway Beach? Mayor Sue Wilson. Okay, how about Garibaldi? Mayor Hall. Cities must be busy out there today. How about Bay City? Do we have Mayor David McCall with us?
Yes, good morning. This is Mayor David McCall. Just wanted to make sure everybody knows tonight we have our regular city council meeting. The agenda is available with the whole packet on our website, and our meeting begins with a couple public hearings starting at 6 o'clock tonight in the community hall. Thank you.
Excellent. Thank you. Okay, City of Tillamook. Do we have City Manager Nathan George with us today?
Yes, good morning, Commissioner. Can you hear me?
Good morning. Yes, good morning.
Wonderful, thank you. Yes, I do have several things. The Public Works Department has been working on the following items. They are currently preparing for the June Dairy Parade. You may have already seen some of the signs throughout the city that have been placed letting people know the parade is on the last Saturday of June, which is in less than 2 weeks, June 25th. The annual event is held and sponsored by the Tillamook Chamber of Commerce, and the city is happy to support the event. The Public Works Department also performed pothole repairs in the area of Meadow Avenue and 8th Street. Please contact our Public Works Department by calling the main number or by email at publicworks@tillamookor.gov, and that can report any potholes, whether they be anywhere in the city. Welcome to report them, and we will make sure they're taken care of. They also prepped for the farmers market kickoff last Saturday. They also poured concrete pads and installed new benches at the dog park that were built by and donated by City Councilor Doug Henson. The city greatly appreciates his contribution. In the wastewater division, the city is currently working through the process of obtaining a new wastewater master plan to address capacity issues on the east side of town. We're also excited to announce that, well, we already announced this, but the county has contributed $200,000 from their funding, which we appreciate. Staff is exploring some options to address capacity in the interim time, and we'll be discussing that at the upcoming council meeting. In the water division, the city has been busy reading meters and repaired a water leak on 5th Street. They're also involved in assisting the streets division with the June Dairy preparation and watering flower baskets. In the Tillamook Police Department, we had a quarterly department meeting with the department and the city manager. Hour of that was spent training with the Tillamook District Attorney's Office and Tides of Change and using them as a resource in domestic violence cases. We're very excited that we have partnered officially with Tides of Change only a few months ago. We are working on setting up policy and procedures for a chaplain program in the city of Tillamook, as well in the police department. Both Lieutenant Troxel and Officer Vanderhoff are also in the process of becoming instructors at the DPSST, which is Department of Safety Standards Training, I believe. Also a reminder that the city is hosting the ALICE training, and we had the formal interview with the superintendent regarding our new SRO, our school resource officer, and the city has signed the memorandum of understanding with the district and the city. So we're very excited to have a school resource officer back in our schools. We had a quarterly meeting. Excuse me, I already announced that. I apologize. They also, in the last week, the PD experienced great teamwork between John with the Tillamook Family Counseling Center crisis team, Lieutenant Troxel with our local veterans, and the TPD the Tillamook Police Department worked well together to allow us to serve a combat veteran in crisis and successfully transfer that person to the Portland VA office. I'm also excited to announce that the city will be again hosting movies in the park this summer. We'll be showing the 2019 version of Aladdin starring Will Smith on Saturday, July 15th, starting at dusk. That was the movie that got canceled last year because of the weather. The city would like to thank the many service organizations that have adopted a flower bed at Goodspeed Park. The city has worked hard to partner with these service organizations, even removing a large stump to provide what is needed to beautify our park. But the great thanks goes to these many volunteers who do so much for our park and our community. If you're running for any elected positions at the City of Tillamook in November, you will need to register with the City of Tillamook City Recorder's Office. The closing registration date for running for public office is Tuesday, August 30th, and you may contact the Tillamook County Clerk's Office or the City of Tillamook Recorder's Office for more information on the paperwork. However, all paperwork for city positions will need to be turned in to the City Tillamook Recorder's Office. The city still has vacancies in the Tillamook Urban Renewal Agency, the city's Planning Commission, and the city's Budget Committee. Although the Budget Committee wouldn't be till next year, we do have a vacancy. If you're interested in serving or know someone serving, please have them call the city or visit our website. And our next regular council meeting will be on Monday, June 20th at 7 p.m. in City Hall. And the final municipal budget for the city will be on the agenda. We'll also be holding a work session at 6 p.m. And one of the topics, as I previously mentioned, will be on the work session will be discussion of the east side of city wastewater issues. We invite everyone who'd like to attend to come. And finally, all these Tuesday morning updates that the city does will now be posted on the city's website and social media for our community to see them even more. That's all, Commissioner. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much. Appreciate your report, Nathan. South County, Doug Olson, are you with us this morning? Okay, not hearing Doug. That wraps up our reports for today. I have one quick reminder that we do not have a Board of Commissioners meeting tomorrow, as we typically would, because Commissioner Yamamoto and I are out of the office. With that, I want to say thank you to KTIL for broadcasting, and thank you to everyone for attending. Go forth and have a wonderful day. I will adjourn this meeting at 8:51 a.m. Thank you.